Live from Bozeman, Montana. See, I blew there. When I yell like that, the audio goes boom. And Kyler's over there like, oh. Sorry, folks. But you know how they say live from New York? No, we're live from Bozeman, Montana. Episode number 100 of Elk Talk Live, brought to you by goHUNT.com and Bowtech Archery. Woo! Man, we're going to be giving away some prizes today. All of you people who were here for the last however many episodes kept saying, Randy, you should give away some prizes for the 100th episode. So we're going to. And to comply with the U.S. gaming laws, sweepstakes laws, we can't charge you any money, so there's no cost to enter. We can only give it away to U.S. citizens, and we can only give it away to live viewers. So I'm sorry if somehow you don't meet one of those requirements. I wish we could do it differently, but I've been in jail in Mexico, and I don't want to be in jail in the U.S., especially with hunting season coming right up. Grouse season opened yesterday. These two guys, Kyler and Paul, went grouse hunting. You get any grouse? They're like, they know that like your promotion around here is how many grouse you shoot in a season. Not how many elk you shoot, how many grouse. So anyhow, the rest of the giveaway, here's the language that's been set up. Matthew Newberg has been in charge of all this. So for each giveaway, we're going to give away a hashtag. Kyler's going to put it on the screen, and you type it in, and you only type it in once because the software will randomly select it, and it disregards multiple entries. So don't be spamming the feed. And then when we issue it and tell you what it is, there's going to be like a 5-minute drag for Matthew to pick or run the software that picks somebody. And he's going to text me right here on if my phone doesn't die. He's going to tell me who the winner is, and we're going to announce it. And then you got to get a hold of Matthew at contact@randynewberg.com. You got 10 minutes to email him at contact@randynewberg.com. Or if you're on Facebook, if you want to, you can do a direct message to Matthew Newberg. Don't do it to Randy Newberg, because Randy Newberg doesn't respond to DMs on Instagram or Facebook. So, and if that person doesn't show up and raise their hand in 10 minutes, we're going on to the next person. So, remember, you only have to put that hashtag in one time, but you can do all 5 of them. So, cool. How about that? It is elk season, huh? It is elk season. You guys going elk hunting this weekend?
I don't know what you're doing here.
You don't know what I'm doing here?
It's elk season.
I know, it's elk season. I have an Idaho elk tag, and these guys said, Randy, come on, man, you got to give the audience another shot at it. So I was supposed to be in Idaho today, archery elk hunting, but no, I'm here doing Elk Talk Live. Oh, well. That's how it goes, you know? What do they say in that Trailer Park Boys? That's how she goes. Sometimes she goes, sometimes she don't go. But that's how she goes. These guys are laughing. They can hardly keep a straight face. But that's how she goes, you know? Marcus and Michael are over in Idaho right now. Marcus has turned into an antler hunter. I heard today he passed a legal bull. And that's remarkable, because I've never seen Marcus pass an elk in his life that was legal. But anyhow, before we get too far into this, we got to make sure that you know what companies make this possible so it's free, so we can give away cool prizes. Yeah, goHUNT, right? 3D maps, best draw odds, strategy articles. Sign up at the Insider, use promo code RANDY, and you get $50 of mad money in their gear shop. Bowtech Archery, if you want to be notified about these, text Randy to 64600, and they'll let you know every week when we're going live. And then we got leupold at the goHUNT gear shop. They sell leupold products. And if you check out and use promo code Randy, they'll give you a discount. On just about everything, you get a discount at the goHUNT gear shop if you use promo code Randy. On optics, I think it might only be 5% though. And then there's Gerber gear. We're going to give away a couple of these tonight. Go to gerbergear.com if you're not the winner and buy one, and they'll give you 20% off with promo code Randy. Oh, Rocky Mountain hunting calls. Huh? My mellow yellow. It's dried out. I don't know if I can call with it. Is it going to blow your ears out? I've been driving down the road every day, window down, doing it with my hands. Well, then yesterday, I'm driving around with my bugle tube. It happens in Montana in August and September. You see more people driving down Main Street with the bugle tube out their window. If you're not from around here, you probably wonder, what in the hell is up with these, where they get these party horns or whatever. But anyhow, this is the thing. This call, I bet you, is going to call in at least 3 elk in the next week. And if you go to Rocky Mountain Hunting Calls and you use promo code Randy, they'll give you 15% off. And today we released the video about Kenetrek boots. Want to know how to keep your feet warm? Go watch that video on our YouTube channel. Cold Feet Suck, I think is the name of it. And if you use promo code Randy when you buy a Kenetrek boot, they're going to give you a free pair of hunting gaiters, the $75 gaiters. Yep. Mystery Ranch backpacks. Go buy it at goHUNT.com in their gear shop. They'll give you 10% off that when you use Randy. And let's see, black gold tight spot ripcord. I know you can get black gold and tight spot at goHUNT and save 10%. Oh, and this is the only time I'm not much of a merchandise guy. So the staff does the merchandise. They just have me model it. And we had a lot of requests for long sleeve and for hoodies. So now if you go out to shop.randynewberg.com, you can get hoodies and you get long sleeve shirts. And between now and next Wednesday, through next Wednesday, the 9th, if you buy a long sleeve shirt or a hoodie, you get 15% off your other shirt. End of that. The elk are in the pre-rut phase. They're like a week away from peak rut. Right now, but here's the funny part. The young bulls, they think it's peak rut. You can slam your car door and almost call in a raghorn right now. I mean, they're swelled up like a 20-year-old college student, man. They're like walking around, snorting, drooling. Kyler's laughing because he's a 20-year-old college student right now. He's embarrassed as hell. His face is as red as his hair right now. I didn't mean to embarrass you, buddy. He's got his head down so I can't see him now. Anyhow, it is time. This is what we live for all year. From now until the end of November, we are chasing elk whenever we can. So I hope you have some tags and you go do it. Let's see. Have judos will travel for grouse. I don't know if we can see this. You guys are not going to believe this, but Corey Jacobson, of all people, sends me a text message today. One of our camera guys, Dale, is over filming them. And Corey sends me this picture. He shot a limited grouse today. And he's like, Randy, I thought your camera guys were here to film elk. All we find are grouse. And I replied, now that's a great day of elk hunting. You need me to tag along and remove the grouse debris from your path. So, but I hope you're all out there. Let's see, what do we got for questions? Did we get any tags for Idaho? Yeah, I got an Idaho elk tag. Marcus has an Idaho elk tag. Michael has an Idaho elk tag. Marcus was over archery mule deer hunting in Idaho. Yeah. So I wonder, when are we going to do this first prize? I wonder if Matthew telling us anything? We got 2 guys here that I'm reading what they're telling me on the screen. I got a guy in Oregon reading what he's telling me on the screen. Oh, 8:15 we start the first giveaway. Yep. All right. So 8:15. We'll tell you how the first giveaway. What is that going to be? Is that a gift card? Ooh, $100 gift card from goHUNT.com. There you go. Pay attention. So a bunch of you sent us questions on Facebook and on Instagram. And so one person says, Randy, I'm new to elk hunting and I want to understand, how do I call in a spiked bull? Right there. This mellow yellow is really an easy call to use, and it's mostly for cow calling. You start laying on the cow call anywhere near a spiked bull right now, and either because his hormones are raging and he thinks that he's going to come and get a hot date, or because he just got kicked away from the herd and he's lost, either way he's coming in. The easiest elk to call in September is a spike if you're cow calling. So just go anywhere near the herds and cow call, and you'll have spikes. They usually come in silent. So be listening, you'll hear this. It's like, there he is. So, Randy, do you sharpen your broadheads right out of the pack? I don't with the ones I use. I guess you probably could, but the bone broadheads that I use, they come so sharp right out of the pack. Now, a lot of people, Paul, you shoot traditional stuff. Do you sharpen your own? Yep. Oh, see, Paul's doing a video about how to sharpen a broadhead. Yeah, we'll work on that. I'd be the wrong guy to ask. I got to have one of those flat ones where, and I can only make it work with like a 3-blade, because then I know I got the angle right. Anything beyond that is like beyond my talent. So I got to get something that's already sharp out of the box. But whatever you do, make sure you have a really sharp broadhead. Because if you have a dull broadhead, I don't have a rubber band here, but assume this was a rubber band, that broadhead is not going to cut this artery or this vein, it's going to push it off to the side. No good. A broadhead kills by cutting, bleeding, loss of pressure within the entire circulatory system, loss of air pressure in the lungs. That's what will do it. Make sure you have a really sharp broadhead. How important are water sources for a late season bull elk hunt in November? I'm talking the west slope of Colorado in the pinyon juniper oak zone. It's not that important because they're getting water. Well, first of all, there's quite a bit of water across the landscape. There's usually been some snow. They're getting water from the snow. They'll get water from some of the moisture the plant matter that they're eating. So I wouldn't use that as my factor that consolidates them. Let's see. Do you call to a bachelor group of bulls? No love in the air at this time, so it must have been last month. Super hot, dry, full moon, 6 bulls together for 5 days. No bulls bugling anywhere. We've been staying quiet. Should we break the silence? Cow call or only bull call? Well, if you've been staying silent, experiment. Try. See if they respond. Get close. Get as close as you can with the wind and see what happens. If they move off, okay, you kind of have your answer there. But if you don't try, you don't know. And that early in the season, I'd probably try cow calls before I'd start off with a rip, snort, and bugle. Let's see. I have a backcountry elk hunt this October, and I'm trying to decide, do I bring the DTS, the dual tool system, or the EBS from your Gerber knife series? Do you have a preference for certain animals or certain uses of one over the other? Yep, I do. The EBS I use because it fits in my pack, it's lighter, it gives me a lot of options when I'm going backcountry. If I'm not going way backcountry, I'm really a big fan of this tendon tool that's on this DTS. So I have a different use for either of them. And if I was doing moose, something that really requires some torque, this thing. I mean, you're still not going to break this. I mean, you're just not. It's that tough. We showed you last week how even this longest blade, see if I can jab myself. Kyler's worried he's going to have to administer first aid here when I break something, but you're not breaking this knife, okay? This isn't like your little skinny scalpel, whatever it is. You could probably work on a big old Brahmer bull with this thing and probably wouldn't even phase it. But anyhow, This is what I use when I go backcountry. This is what I use when I'm not backcountry. Rumor is we're supposed to start a prize giveaway right now. How do we do that?
It's already going.
It's already going?
Mm-hmm.
Who? Oh, Matthew typed it in there or something, huh?
I put it on the screen.
You put it on the screen.
Mm-hmm.
Why is nobody typing it in?
They're firing it up on Facebook.
Oh, well, maybe the YouTube folks aren't seeing it. It's hashtag Elk Talk Live.
It's on there.
All right. I'm not seeing it there. My feed must be slow. All I got are these ones at the beginning where everyone was doing the test pattern. Let's see. No, are you sure my feed's working? I haven't had a comment since the person talked about my Mexico jail story from the podcast. You had to refresh YouTube, huh? Mm-hmm. What kind of misfit operation we got here? Okay.
There's a lot of people putting in.
Holy cow. Man, your odds of drawing a Montana sheep tag are going to be better than winning this $100 gift card. Whoo! Hot dogs. Let's see. Utah has spike tags. How can you call in a spike, or would they be in a group? Yes and yes. You can call them in, and they're probably going to be in a group. One time we called in a group, I think, of 10 spikes. Cow calls. Just went over that. Let's see. Tell Randy to change from top chats to live chats. Oh, ha! Dave, see, we got Dave on the line here. Dave is like our right-hand man for these things. He has the FAQs, frequently asked questions, that he's posting today. Dave doesn't know it yet, but he's got something coming from goHUNT also. Holy cow, what are we going to do? Anyone got any questions, or are we just going to sit here and watch hashtags go by? Man, I don't know if this was a good idea. I mean, I like the idea of sharing with everybody and getting them all fired up, but so no, folks, don't send emails to contact@randynewberg.com. You just eliminated yourself by doing that. I opened up my email, and it's like, everybody's emailing me. No. See, Matthew forwarded, delete, shift, control, delete. Don't email me. It's in the feed, and then you're going to win. All right, let's get to some more questions. What do we got here? All right, this one we get asked a lot, and I hear all kinds of different theories on it, and I'll tell you what mine is, but I'm not going to say it's absolutely the correct thing. This person says, hey, it's really hot weather. We've got a bull down. We've quartered him. We've put him in the game bags, hopefully caribou game bags, and what we do, it says, they ask me, we don't completely debone. We just open up the hind quarter to let the bone release some heat, and then we put it in the game bag to hang. Do you just bag it without doing that? In other words, without opening the hind quarter and letting the air out of the heat out through the bone? Or do you just hang it? Another option is, do you completely bone it and hang it? I don't completely bone it and hang it, because then you just get this big blob of meat. And in the core, there's nothing to pull that heat out of there. It just sits there. So personally, I leave the whole quarter intact, and I let those bones be a transfer agent for pulling that heat out of the center of that mass of meat. It becomes the conduit through which that happens. Now, usually the next day, if I leave it hang overnight or in the wind, it's cool enough that I might debone it. If I got a long ways to go, I'm going to bone it out. But when I have llamas, I usually don't bone it out. But you're going to get other people who say, no, I do exactly what this person says. So I don't know that there's a right way or a wrong way. I've never lost any meat due to heat doing it the way I do, but we get the question a lot. This person says, any advice on hunting Montana Unit 150 the last week of September? Yeah, go find another unit. I hate to tell you that, but it's all of those Region 1 units have some of the lowest harvest rates in all of Montana. It's a tough place to hunt. Now, having said that, there are people who have figured it out. Those guys who harvest elk in Region 1 and in Montana on a regular basis, they should be the ones hosting Elk Talk Live. I really don't have any advice other than know that the elk numbers are really low and it's thick, steep country. That's why I don't hunt there. I hunt somewhere else. I'm a patty cake when it comes to that super thick country. Hey Randy, we had high hopes on opening morning and we ran into a huge band of domestic sheep. All the elk disappeared. Happens. Domestic sheep, when they get done, it's like the surface of the moon. And then the person says, but it wasn't a complete loss. We shot a lot of grouse. How do you cook them? I don't add anything to them. I just put them on a stick over a fire, and as the outer part gets cooked, I just pull it off and eat it as it's getting cooked. So let's see. This is a bit of an exaggeration in Colorado. If you were archery elk hunting an over-the-counter unit in Colorado with 100,000 of your closest friends, do you go in deep or do you stay mobile to head to multiple spots? Yeah, I would be mobile, because if there's that many people, I'm not going to go invest my entire 1 or 2 days of my hunt going deep into these areas only to have 6 other camps in there. I'm going to be mobile and be moving around, finding some places where maybe there aren't people. Let's see. For a mid-September archery bull elk hunt in a limited entry unit in Colorado, so not an over-the-counter, but limited entry, would you start with your e-scouted spots that are in the higher elevation areas with drainages and secluded fields, or would you go down into the more dense timber areas? I would start higher and work my way down. So let's see. At least that's what I would do. I'm checking to see if the winner's been drawn yet in this software. So far, not yet. With the increase in wildfires over the past few years and the preponderance of them being this year following that trend, could you talk about the way elk respond to wildfires? Does it drive them to a higher elevation? Do they care about air quality? How far away will the fire pressure them to move? And we covered this a lot last week. They're going to move, but let's say, we know that a fire never burns in a rectangle, but let's say it did. The elk that used to occupy this 20,000 acre burned area aren't going to pick up and go to the next county. They're going to go over here or slightly over here, slightly over there. So now you have 20,000 acres of a fire from 3 weeks ago that probably has little to no elk in it. So the densities there are really bad. But that periphery right around there is going to have higher densities of elk. So it's not a complete loss. A lot of people look at that and say, well, I'm not hunting there for 3 years. Well, okay. The elk are still there. They're just slightly relocated. And make note of it, though, because next year and the year after and the year after, it's going to be a really, really good spot. Do I think elk care about air quality? I mean, yeah, enough that they're not going to stand right next to the fire and inhale all the smoke, but not enough that they're going to say, oh man, there's a fire over there, it's smoky. Like humans, we get up and say, oh man, I'm going to stay in my house, it's smoky. And elk's got to be out in it. They're, that drainage there versus that drainage there probably has the same air quality. So it's not like they're going to say, hey, I'm going to pack up my duds, I'm heading down to Colorado Springs, get out all this smoke. No, they just got to deal with it out there. All right, we have our first winner. The winner is Adam Hale, Haile, and he's following us on Facebook. So we have, those of you watching this, we have a live stream going on Facebook and a live stream going on YouTube. So we're going to have some from each. So Adam, Adamhaile, Matthew's going to get a hold of you, and you got 10 minutes to get back to him. Otherwise, we're going to draw a new winner. You ever go to a conservation banquet and they pull a number or a name, and 3 seconds after the person hasn't claimed their prize, everyone's like, draw again, draw again. Cracks me up when that happens. It happens all the time, though. All right. So, let me see. Live chat. How are we doing? Uh-oh, what did I do there? My live stream went kaput. What's going on? Lost my live stream. You lose your live stream? Oh, here it is. Got to go back out to the home page. All right. Let me see. How's my llama doing? Doing great. Any advice for Wyoming Area 7 and the Laramie Peaks? I've never hunted there. Sorry, I wish I could. But my llama, Mac, I'm going down to Idaho Falls and pick him up, because whether or not we get to do Elk Talk Live next Wednesday is dependent upon how quickly I can kill an elk. If I can't kill an elk, I'm not driving a couple hours to come back here to do Elk Talk Live next Wednesday. I already sacrificed this Wednesday, so I hope you all will grant me a little pardon here if I don't get to town next week to do Elk Talk Live. But if I get my elk right away, I'll be right here. So, and we'll be letting you know. Let's see, moon phases. Does it affect elk patterns? You're going to get a million different responses to that one, and people know that I think that moon patterns are a bunch of horse pucky. And the reason being, if you think about, if elk have to have the majority of the calves drop in late May and early June, and that they prefer it in that 10 day to 14 day window. Well, they all have the same gestation period. So that means you got to roll the rut back to a certain time. And that's the peak of the rut. Whether it's a full moon, a new moon, a quarter moon, a whatever, a blue moon, it doesn't matter. They don't care. They got a rut, and they got a rut at a certain time. Now, if you hit a full moon and you hit a bunch of hot days, yeah, it's going to push most of that activity tonight and in the darkness, and you're going to say, oh my gosh, you know, there aren't any elk around. The rut isn't going on. Well, that's because it's going on at night. So, does it affect things? Yeah, to some degree, but not the way that a lot of people think it is. So, a lot of people are asking, how's our buddy Bo? Our buddy Bo is right now undergoing some experimental treatments this week. I got a text from him today. He's all excited. He's like, I'm going to be ready to go on that hunt with you in September. I hope he can. That'd be so cool. But let's see. Are we going to do the next prize, I wonder? What's the next one? You got that queued up, ready to go, Kyler? Yeah. All right. Where is it here? This one. Do we know what prize this is going to be? It looked like the prizes all got wiped out.
Matthew is going to be updating the table.
Oh, Matthew's going to update the prizes. Well, he unupdated the prizes. I'm going to make a decision. Gerber's going to give away someone a dual tool system. And no, I can't do that on this one. Yeah, I can. So, hashtag leupold. You got to spell leupold right, though. Okay? Don't be spelling it like Aldo Leopold. It's leupold. Okay? Hashtag leupold. America's Optics Company. If you see those gold rings around something, you know it was made in Beaverton, Oregon. There you go. So, suppose anyone can spell leupold correctly. Oh, I see everyone's already spelling it right. There we go. Get rid of the Elk Talk Live. The Elk Talk Live hashtag isn't doing you any good now. It's leupold. All right, there we go. All right, so the reason we're going to do this one with hashtag leupold is because leupold and Gerber aren't that far apart from each other. And they're good friends. They hang out together. They talk a lot. And they're two great sponsors who support public lands, conservation, all the things that we love to do. Someone put a hashtag. No, that isn't. See, you guys, they're trying to just, they're jonesing in by doing it that way. Oh, here we go. My brother drew Unit 51 in New Mexico. Would you hunt a 2-year-old burn or last year's burn? Yes. I'd check them both. We've had 2 hunts in Unit 51 in New Mexico. There's a lot of elk there. It's thick, and there's a lot of tags, but there's some really nice bulls in there. It'd be really good. I wish I drew that tag. Let's see. Hey Randy, I'm going on my first elk hunt in Colorado during the first rifle season. The highest elevations in the unit look to be from 9,500 to 10,000. I've heard it's been a hot, dry year out there this year. Yes, it has. What elevation do you think the elk would be at during that time? It depends. Now, if your unit has moisture in lakes, because there's alpine mountain lakes, even at 10,000 feet, and that holds water, there's a good chance that there are going to be elk wherever that water is. So when I say depends, go see where the moisture still is. There could be seeps and springs coming out of the mountains. There could be a north slope that isn't as dry as a south slope. So it's hard to pick an elevation band. Because the elevation band that attracts elk on a north slope might be different than the elevation band that attracts them on a south-facing slope, or on an east-facing slope, or on a southwest-facing slope. It's really hard to say an exact elevation band based on just water. So, let's see. How long do you have from the moment an elk dies until you need to get it quartered out and cooling off at 80 degrees Fahrenheit? About 5 minutes. No, I mean, as fast as possible. You know, this is one thing that just chaps me, absolutely pisses me off. Oh, sorry about that. It ticks me off about what you see on outdoor TV. And I'm going to tell you why it happens, okay? These guys run an arrow through a whitetail. They see it's a perfect shot. It's close to evening, and what do? They say, oh, we'll go recover them in the morning. The majority of time, the reason they're going to recover it in the morning is because you got better filming light for pictures and video. Just the truth. And it ticks me off. So when you're elk hunting, don't ever, unless it's, I mean, if you're following a blood trail and you hear the elk get up and take off, yeah, you have to, then you have to, okay? But if you see you made a good hit and there's good blood, you start following that blood. You know, you give them some time, obviously. It depends on the quality of the hit. But if it's super hot, sometimes you're going to have to go a little sooner than you normally would like. Sometimes you'll look out and you'll have heard them fall or crash or whatever. If it's super hot, here's the problem. The elk has already started to shed that summer coat, and he's got this starting to thicken winter coat. And he's got about that much fat on him. His body mass is more than it's going to be a month from now when he's lost, 10, 15% of his body weight. And you get that huge mass with those organs inside there, with that thick hide, that thing is going to heat up fast. So as fast as possible is that answer. And I get it that sometimes you do have to let them go and make sure, especially if you've bumped them. But you know, don't do that just because that's what the cool people do. No, don't. It drives me to tears when I see that, because I think other hunters are watching that and they think that's the appropriate thing to do. That's a lot of personal opinion there, but it's also based on a whole lot of time in the woods, taking care of animals and trying to salvage meat. So, let's see. How is the electronic tag processing gig going to work this year if you don't have service? Each state is different. You're going to have to figure out what the rules are for that state. If it's an electronic tag, they've all addressed it. Last year we had it in New Mexico. We did an e-tag in New Mexico. And there's a whole list of rules about how you're supposed to do it in New Mexico, which might be different than how you do it here or how you do it there. So when in default, always go to your state regulations and proclamations and follow that first and foremost. So let's see. Oh, that is so funny. So here's an example of it. You know, you get so many of these questions where I say, it depends. Okay, to run an arrow through the elk shoulder blade, what weight arrow broadhead and FOC, front of center, do you use? Depends on what your arrow velocity is. Depends on what the distance was. So it depends. The idea is don't run it through the shoulder if you can at all help it. Run it through the heart or the lungs. And then none of that matters nearly as much. Let's see. Does heat affect the rut? Do the bulls call less or respond less? Yes. It affects their activity. It doesn't affect the rut. But if you get these 90-degree days, and we've all had them in September, the elk, they just cannot physically be up on their feet all day long chasing cows. If you go and read the studies, an elk will spend as much energy thermal regulating at 80 degrees Fahrenheit as they will at 0 degrees Fahrenheit, because they're trying to get rid of all that heat, versus when it's cold, they're trying to conserve all that heat. So what do to counter that? They go find shade, they go find some place where the wind will keep them cool, and that's how they thermal regulate. And they will just wait until the sun starts to go down, and then they'll become way more active. So again, the rut is still going to happen. It's just that because it's hot, it's going to be happening during the cooler periods of the day, which is usually evening. Oh, let's see. What's the best leupold rifle scope for the money? Depends on what your budget is, but I would have to say the VX3i for the money. And I always say that value is where performance and price intersect. So you can't just look at price, you can't just look at performance. Price and performance intersect at a point I call value. And if you can find something better than the leupold 3XI when it comes to value, let me know what it is. So, when's Randy's next Shop Talk episode? Guys are asking me about that. I don't know. We're trying to sort out which story we want to do for the next Shop Talk episode. Let's see. Do you have a preference for your elk rifle caliber? I see you use a 7mm 08 and a 300 Win Mag. The difference between the two makes me wonder why this choice. No, what I usually use for elk is my 308, which is same as a 7mm 08, just one is a 284 versus a 30 caliber. But if all I ever hunted was elk, I'd probably do strictly a 308 or a 300 Win Mag. If I did mostly deer, but occasionally an elk, I'd do a 7mm 08. And right here, I got the ammo that I shoot out of all of them. Wow, look at this. What a country. My 308, I shoot 165 grain nozzler partition. My 7mm 08, I shoot 140 grain nozzler E-tip, which is their non-lead bullet. And in my 300 Win mag, I go back and forth. One of them set up for 180 grain Accubons, and another one is set up for 180 grain E-tips. So, a little bit of both, but there's no right or wrong. I tell people, use the rifle that you are the most accurate with. All right. Adam responded that so we got Adam's out of the way. Now on YouTube, we have the second winner of the Gerber DTS, and that is Todd Campbell. So Todd, send an email to contact@randynewberg.com and it will go to Matthew, and he'll take care of everything for you. Ha! Man, what a country, huh? How slick is this? Any go-to grouse recipes? My wife has one, but if I shared it, it would not be pretty. It involves flour, pepper, a little bit of cayenne, a little bit of olive oil, and a hot frying pan. And I stand right there, and I grab them right out of the frying pan with the tongue, and I kind of shake the hot oil off it. And I'm such a knucklehead, I can't wait long enough for it to cool off. I'm over there like, but it's that good. So that's what I do. Let's see. If you're hunting an area with 3 to 4 known wallows, would you rather sit the wallows or sit in glass? Neither. Maybe in the heat of the day, like from 11 o'clock to 3 o'clock, I'd sit a wallow if I knew it was one that was being used. But I'm usually not going to sit in glass in archery season. When they're using wallows, it's this time of year. Well, that's not a time to sit in glass. That's the time to be moving, calling, move. September, if you're an elk hunter in September, you want to be covering a lot of ground. That's just because of what they're doing at this time of year. Let's see. What is my main strategy for early season elk hunts? Cow calls, glassing, see where they're at, get as close as I possibly can, listen, cow calls. This is what people say, Randy, why do you always have a camera guy with you in archery season? Because my hearing sucks so bad. This is my good ear. Every time an elk bugles, I look this way. I think he's over here because my right ear is my good ear. And I'll start walking that way, and the camera crew, these young guys with good ears, they'll be like, no, he's over here, knucklehead. I'm like, you guys are screwing with me, man. They're like, no. Well, then I find myself walking in a circle to the right. And so it's how it goes. But when am I hunting Idaho? I can't tell you all that for sure, but I'll be hunting Idaho. What scope magnification do you need to hunt elk? Need? I shot my first 5 elk with a leupold. I think it was back then they were called an M4 or M6. It was a straight 6-power scope, 42 millimeter. Man, it was a great scope. So anything from a 6 to 15 power. I don't know. My VX5s have, they're 3 to 15 powers. I have some VX3s that are 3 to 9 powers, or I think some of them are 3.5 to 10. So there's no real gotta have. So, all right. So Matthew must have ratted out the next hashtag called gerbergear, right? So we're giving away a second DTS to somebody who uses hashtag gerbergear. But while you guys are all typing in your hashtags, I'm going back with some more questions. But remember, gerbergear, go to gerbergear.com, use promo code Randy and save 20% if you're not the winner. Yeah, 20%. You'll be happy you did. Let's see, where's some more questions here? All right. elk like to hang out during archery season for the most part? What side of a slope do elk like to hang out during archery season for the most part? The north-facing slope, the south-facing slope? I'm pretty new to this archery game. They're probably going to be somewhere from the northeast to the northwest, all the way at that arc from that, maybe 120 degrees. The reason being is it's going to give them better bedding cover because of shade, possibly wind, but it's also going to give them access to the feed. They don't have to go that far to feed around to the east slope or the west slope where there's better feed. Right now, think about how hot it is. Those super intense south-facing slopes don't have much to offer elk right now. Maybe if you've had a really good monsoon season, there will be, but they're pretty dried out right now. So elk are going to be where they can fulfill a need. Well, the cows right now are fulfilling the need of food. So they're going to bed someplace in proximity to the best food. And the bulls are going to be near the cows, so there you have it. But you see these great big expanses of dark timber? There's some bulls in there, but the density of bulls in these great big expanses, just huge basins of dark timber, are not going to be as high as the density along the fringes of those dark timber. So, let's see. Where did that go? Right here. This one ought to cause a bunch of controversy. Randy, does bull elk meat taste different if they're taken during the rut? In other words, are they gamier from the adrenaline compared to a quick kill pre-rut or post-rut? I can't say for sure. I've shot elk in the rut and they tasted fine. I think it's more a function of what their age is and how hard they've been rutting, because then they're going to be like withered down to nothing but bone. They're going to look like a carcass that you put a wrap of canvas around or something. So you're going to get a lot of different opinions on that. I can only give you my anecdotal personal observations, and that would be that it's more age related than it is the period of the year. This one could take forever. What is your best advice for dealing with pressure from other hunters? Okay. Todd says, before I answer that, let's see. Todd has responded in the chat and said he missed the email address. So, Todd, the email address is contact@randynewberg.com. And if any of the rest of you respond to that email, I'm blocking you and I'm sending you some sort of Shanghai chicken virus or something in your email. Or maybe I'll send the Russians after you or something. So, Todd, email that. Okay? But let's go back to the question. Advice for dealing with the pressure from other hunters. That's a huge part of my e-scouting plan. I know where most of the hunting pressure is going to come by looking at what's the easiest place to access. Okay? That's the first place hunters go and where the most hunters go. And what do elk do? They disperse from that to areas with less hunting pressure and harder to get to, which is either usually a function of distance or the extreme topography. Sometimes it can also be a function of a boundary. Okay. In states like Montana, Wyoming, Idaho, we have these big general units, or even Colorado. And so all seasons are open the same, so unit boundaries don't make that big of a difference. Well, some states have different season dates in different units. So the boundaries between units can be one of those places that allows elk to feel a little more secure because hunters don't want to go hunt next to boundaries. Public-private, near national park, near state boundaries, two state boundaries. There's all kinds of things that create places that elk will go in response to hunting pressure. And that is a big part of what you should be doing in your e-scouting, is trying to figure out, if I'm an elk And my number one job is to stay alive until tomorrow morning. What do I got to do? I got to go someplace where the hunting pressure isn't as bad. And I get there, I wake up tomorrow morning, and I got to stay alive till tomorrow night. All right? Where's the place where the hunting pressure isn't as bad? I think as humans, we often think that elk have everything overcomplicated. No, they got one job. Stay awake, stay alive. That's it. That's why, ever seen a mule deer stand there and look at you for 40 minutes without moving? And we're like, come on, man, do something, deer, go bed down. You know, I got a football game this afternoon that I want to catch. Mule deer doesn't care. He'll stand there and look at you for 5 hours because that's his job. He's got to stay alive until tomorrow. So, all right, are we ready for the next prize? The last two prizes, we got 2 more prizes, and they're going to be good. So, if you use hashtag goHUNT, I think we got another $100 goHUNT gift card for you. That works, right? Did you put that up there, Kyler, so people know? Yeah. Hashtag goHUNT. And whenever you go to goHUNT and you check out, use promo code Randy, it's either going to save you 10% on your shopping cart or you're going to get a $50 gift card for signing up for the Insider, for the maps and everything else. Will elk go above tree line to escape hunting pressure? Yes, they will. Absolutely. I have seen some elk at some really high elevations, especially in Colorado. I've seen them in some places that are like, what the hell is an elk doing up there? But they will go very, very high. Let's see. Can you legally recover an animal that crosses into a different unit than what your tag is for? The odds are you're going to be able to do that, but I would notify a game warden before I would, say there's a road that, okay, this is your unit, that's another unit. And in these states where your tag is for a set unit, if my blood trail takes me over into that unit, I'm calling the game warden and saying, hey, I hit a bull, he's now over in the other unit. I'm going to go get him, because I wouldn't want to be over there gutting and gilling and have the law show up and say, what are you doing over here? Your tag's over there. So, but they would certainly let you do it. All right, man, some of you people get pretty carried away in the way that you throw the artwork out there in these hashtags. I wouldn't even know how to do that. This person is a fellow certified public accountant. Randy, how do you ever have time to get your CPE, continuing professional education, completed? Us CPAs, we have to do 40 hours of education every year. And so usually what's happening, the week before Christmas and New Year, I'm cranking out 40 hours of continuing education because I'm not hunting then. So, but since I'm kind of trying to get out of the accounting world, maybe I'll just say heck with it. So, all right. JCAS, middle of October, first rifle season in Colorado. How far are the bigger bulls moving away from the cows to find sanctuary? The unit my wife and I will be hunting have oil field roads all over it. That's tough. So Wyoming's a great example. If you ever flew over Wyoming, you see almost like a grid in some places. All this seismic activity, what they're doing is they're doing seismic activity and it's almost like a grid line. And so there are roads everywhere. All right, is there some place between those roads that there's a canyon? Is there some place between, maybe the roads are a mile apart? Is there some place where there's just this steep, ugly, nasty rock pile with some timber in it? What is the place an elk can and would go to? And it's not necessarily a function of how far from the cows. They use the same sanctuary areas year after year after year. So it might be 10 miles from where they were with the cows in the breeding. It's not necessarily a set distance. as much as it is what place have they found sanctuary in the past where they haven't been messed with, and that's where they're going to go again this year. So, let's see. All right, people are asking deer hunting questions and asking antelope questions. No, this is Elk Talk. So, I don't know the answer to that one. Any strategies for hunting large herds with a big bull during archery season? Yeah, be patient because it can be tough. Hopefully you'll find him when he breaks off with just a small group of his herd, because sometimes that happens. One cow is the one he's interested in, and she just takes off, and he ends up leaving that herd for 2 or 3 hours. That might be a chance to get him. Sometimes what these bulls do, especially in the later half of September, they push the cows up to the bedding area, and they're bugling, carrying on, doing their thing. But they're so hot, they've been exerting themselves so much that they don't drink enough water. So they go and they bed those cows up there, some foothill, some bench, whatever it is. And then they silently go back to water at noon or 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock. A lot of the really big bulls that get killed once they've formed these big herds get killed by ambushing them when they're either around the periphery of the herd or going to water or doing something you wouldn't expect. So there are ways to do it. Try it, experiment. That's the one thing, if I've been blessed in being a below average hunter, is I'm not afraid to experiment. I've made so many dumb mistakes, and every once in a while, one of those dumb mistakes or what seems like maybe a dumb experiment works out really good. So, all right. So, the other Gerber gear winner showed up from Facebook. Jacob Ryman, R-E-I-M-A-N-N. Jacob, get a hold of Matthew, or he may have already got a hold of you. And so you get the second knife. And Busta Bass, come on, that's got to be a made-up name. Busta Bass on YouTube. And we can't get a hold of you on YouTube because we're not able to do that. You need to send an email to contact@randynewberg.com. And those get funneled to like 35 people. I never see them unless I log in to see them. But Busta Bass, you're the winner of the second goHUNT gift card. So I wonder if do people like us giving this stuff away, or is this just like we wasting their time? Kyler's like, no, you're not wasting their time. They like this stuff. All right. All right, Randy, last week you said that you used the tendon tool for the same stuff as the serrated blade on the EBS. Did I understand correctly, or is the tendon tool only for tendon work? No, the tendon tool is for tendons, like the lower legs. It's for removing the atlas joint when you remove the head. So you got the top of the spine, the very last vertebrae, and then you've got the atlas joint that wraps around that, and you're trying to get all that tendon and other stuff off there. It works really great for that. And then you got the burrs, right, where you're trying to get all the hide out from under the antler burr. Works super, super great for that. So it's not only for tendons. But it and the serrated blade were built on the same premise. Use that to do all the things that would destroy your blade, and then it retains the integrity of your cutting surface when you got to do the real cutting. So, let's see. Giveaways are great once in a while. Someone says, I think a Dilly Bar gift card's up next. Nope, you're wrong. You're wrong. Sorry about that. Kyler's over there, but it's pretty close. Let's see. All right, Eric was asking a question about where do I get my chopper mitts. I get them from multiple places. There's an inexpensive place on Amazon where you can get them, and Dave has that link in the FAQ list. But I get mine from Frost River Trading Company in Duluth, Minnesota. And the reason I do that is, and so here's a couple things. I used to give this out all the time, and then people would hammer me and say, well, I can get them cheaper at wherever. It's like, fine. If you want to get them cheaper at wherever, you go right ahead and do it. But I like the fact that Frost River Trading Company and their choppers are made right there in good old Duluth, Minnesota. They're made in the US of A. So I pay a little bit extra, and I get it that some people don't want to pay extra. Okay, it's fine. So I give you both options. You can go to Amazon if you want the cheapest price, or if you want the best damn choppers out there, you can go to Frost River Trading Company in Duluth. So, here's one. I haven't had a lot of time to practice with diaphragm calls. Should I shut up and hunt, or do my best at calling and try to learn something in the process? That's a little bit of both. I would say the best thing you can do is go out and experiment, but don't think you can only experiment while you're out hunting. Like I was saying at the beginning, I've been driving around town the last month, window open, driving my Honda Pilot, pull up to the stoplight, waving to people. They're like, I walked into the coffee shop this morning, and there's a group that I was at the same coffee shop. I get out of my car. Corky, how you doing? They just laugh. Point is, you can practice anytime. Usually don't do it when your spouse is around. If your dogs have sensitive hearing, don't do it around them, because you'll hear, they'll start howling. But try all the time if you can. And the best way to learn is to make some mistakes. Now, if you've got an elk coming in and you're like, oh man, I know this is going to be bad sounding. Gosh. If he's already coming, don't give him reason to not keep doing what he's doing. So, all right, Bust a Bass has responded. So, all 4 of the prizes prior to now have been claimed. Now we got 1 more to go. But before we do that one, I'm going to make sure that everybody knows who makes this free, who gives all these great prizes, right? Gerber Gear. Go to gerbergear.com, use promo code Randy and save 20%. Kenetrek boots, go watch the video on YouTube about how to keep your feet warm, because like we say in the title, cold feet suck. And if you buy a pair of Kenetrek boots and use promo code Randy, they're going to give you a free pair of gaiters, so you'll save $75 there. Rocky Mountain hunting calls. I can't believe I left my bugle tube at home, but anyhow, stuff like this. Go to Rocky Mountain Hunting Calls, use promo code Randy and save 15%. Leupold. Go buy your leupold optics from goHUNT.com, and when you check out, use promo code Randy, and they'll give you, I think it's 5% off certain optics, maybe 10 on others. I can't remember. Bowtech. I'm going to be out there with my realm. Thump, thump. If I fail this year, it's not, it's all right here. It's all operator error, because I've been practicing all summer. I've shot more this summer than I have any summer in my life. And I'm thinking to myself, man, things are going good. Under 40. But I don't want to say that, because that's usually when you put a pox on your kingdom, right? You'll say, oh, if it's under 40 yards, right, it's dead. And I'll airball one at 25 yards or something. So I'm a little hesitant. But go to bowtecharchery.com. Check out all their great stuff. And if you want to be notified, they run the text notifications. Text Randy to 64600, and they're going to make sure you get notified. And then we got Mr. Ranch backpacks. Go to goHUNT.com. to their gear shop. Use promo code Randy and save 10% there. And what else? Black gold tight spot ripcord. You can buy those at goHUNT. And then goHUNT.com. Got 3D maps. Soon to have mobile maps. We've been working on beta. I mean, I can't imagine how much time I've got spent on the beta version. And that is included for free with your insider membership, which has draw odds, strategy articles, all kinds of great giveaways, stuff like that. Go to goHUNT.com, sign up for the insider, use promo code Randy, and get a $50 gift card. So that's who makes all this stuff free. And our last one is going to be another $100 gift card from goHUNT. So they gave away 3 $100 gift cards tonight because they love you all. And this is the hashtag. Matthew came up with this one. At first I'm like, what is that? But now that I see it, it's DQ, hashtag DQ4, not the number, but the letters, FOR, DQ for dinner. The reason he came up with that hashtag is that's what we would say that at our house sometimes. Oh, look at promo code Randy's all over hell. goHUNT all over. No, it's DQ for dinner. When we go walleye fishing, there's a Dairy Queen nearby. And when we'd be coming home from the Dairy Queen, we'd all look at each, or coming home from fishing, driving in from the lake, we could see the Dairy Queen sign up there and we'd all be like, DQ for dinner? Yep, DQ for dinner. So someone asks, which choppers from Frost River do I like best? I like the buckskin choppers the best. Ooh, look at all the people. DQ for dinner. Holy Mackinac. Randy, do you e-scout late season rifle hunts different in New Mexico than some other state? Slightly. Same. I use the same principles, but I know that New Mexico might be slightly different. It usually doesn't have the big changes in elevation. It's usually not going to have the huge accumulations of snow, the super cold temperatures. So yeah, I'm going to use those known differences slightly different, as a slight distinction, but I'm still going to be looking for sanctuary. Sanctuary, sanctuary, sanctuary. So, man, it says DQ for dinner right there on the screen. Do you do that, Kyler? Mm-hmm. Oh, man, you should all thank Kyler. All right. Busta Bass says, Randy, how do I email you? You don't email me. It's contact@randynewberg.com. Busta Bass. Let's see. Wonder if I can type that in there. There it is. Wonder if he'll know to do this. I need an assistant. I got 2 of them here tonight. One in Oregon helping me out. All right. Limited draw unit with very few tags given for all the seasons combined. Would you still focus on sanctuary or try to find the best feed? In an instance like that, which is very rare to have a super low number of tags. And it would depend on what season date I had. If I had an early season tag, I'd be focusing on food. Pre-rut, I'd be focusing on food. And post-rut, or peak rut, I'd be focusing on food. Because pre-rut and peak rut, that's when cows are looking for food and the bulls are looking for the cows. So really the only time that sanctuary comes into play is post-rut and late season. And if it's, say there's only 10 tags in a big unit, yeah, sanctuary is not going to be nearly as important in a unit like that as it is just a general unit on public land. So yeah, there are some small differences based on the number of tags that are given. Randy, does your wife ever hunt with you? She comes with sometimes. Mostly she saves our time for walleye fishing. Have you ever heard that video to the theme Rawhide? Walleye, trolling, 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 gotta keep 'em trolling, do-do-do-do-do-do, walleye. Catch 'em up, gut 'em out, cook 'em up. anyhow, some dudes from Wisconsin came up with that. That's my wife's theme song right there. She doesn't hunt that much. She used to, but not much now. Let's see. Someone asked a question here. What do you carry replacement EBS blades in, as they do not come with a blade box? Yeah, they do. They come with this orange blade box right here. So I carry them in there. They fit perfectly. Got a little stub right over here that everything lines up over here on the right-hand side. Closes, no rattle. And then this goes right in there. Pop, clips in there. There you go. That's where you carry your extra blades, right there. If somebody bought you one of these and you didn't get the blade box, they ripped you off. They stole your blade box. They're like, oh, let's buy John this knife, but I'm stealing the blade box from him. So, all right. The replacement blades do not come in a blade box, all right? The knife itself comes with a blade box. Every knife comes with a blade box. So, unless you're buying like all kinds of extra blades and there's too many of them to fit in here, maybe that's what you're asking. Fill the blade box with however many you need and you're going to be fine. So, let's see. Randy, do not quit your day job and try singing for a living. Boy, trust me, I know that. All right. What else we got here? Randy for American Idol? I don't think so. This person is really, they've got this is the question of the day. Randy, you have a Wyoming elk tag and season is open right now. What are you doing live streaming during a period when you have a Wyoming elk tag? That is a really good question. It's a stupid answer. I got talked into this. That's the answer. So, let's see. Anyone, did we draw a winner, Matthew, for deer meat for dinner? Have you ever eaten elk lips cooked? No. Ew, doesn't sound good. Scent killer, any benefit at all? Nope. Waste of money. Save your money on other things. Have I ever hunted with Joe Rogan? No, I haven't. I don't know that I've ever met Joe Rogan. He's got a cool podcast, though, the Joe Rogan Experience. I like it because he's kind of like me. He doesn't give a damn about what political party you're from. I couldn't give a hoot one way or the other. All right. I have access to a single section of state trust land that has no public access. Is it worth it to hunt an area that small? It could be. I mean, a section, a square, is a square mile out west. When we say section, we're talking 1 square mile, which is 640 acres. There could be elk on there. It might be worthwhile. It just depends on whether or not elk are using it. Let's see, someone here. Randy, do you use a spotting scope during the September rut while archery hunting elk? I don't. I'm a spotting scope guy for mule deer all the time, for antelope all the time, and for elk during the late season and the post rut. When they're bugling and calling, I am just moving, and it's just extra weight. And so I end up not doing it. Let's see. All right, we have another winner. How long have we kept everybody? About an hour and 15 minutes. So we're going to have to figure out who is the final winner. We have it here. It's on Facebook. So we had what, 3 Facebook winners and 2 YouTube winners? Well, that's about right, based on what the concurrent audience size is on each of them, because this person is on Facebook. And Joey Dean, Joey Dean, hey man, you got 2 first names. You won a $100 gift card from goHUNT. So that's cool. Let's see. What else we got here? Someone said the last one watching should win. Well, I don't know about the last one watching because everybody would hang out, but don't forget to go buy some long sleeve shirts or some hoodies, because here's how our merchandise situation works. So, I'm not into merchandise, okay? I wear the same hat all the time or whatever, and I told the crew, if you guys want to sell merchandise, I get it, go ahead, do it. And so they set up shop.randynewberg.com. And if you buy one of these shirts or a hoodie between now and or through September 9th, you get 15% off another shirt. But here's where the money goes, because a lot of people are like, well, what happens with the money? Okay. We use a little outfit in South Dakota to do all this for us because Tom's Tees, San and the guys there are great people, and I want to help support this little company in South Dakota. Now, I could go and use one of these big, huge industrial printing companies, and we'd save $2 a shirt, maybe. But I'd rather not sell shirts than to tell Tom Tees that, hey, we're going to go to a cheaper alternative. So when you buy our shirts, you're helping them. And half of the money, whatever net we end up with, goes to cover overhead and everything else. And the other half is employee bonuses at the end of the year. So if you want to help out my employees, buy some merchandise. If you don't, I get it. But that's the gig on our merchandise. And RJ in our office, he ordered a bunch of women's shirts. And everybody here who has a significant other who is of the female persuasion has weighed in on what we should have for shirts for women. And I give that preface that I don't know what kind of shirts women want to wear. So if they aren't what you're looking for, I'm going to give you RJ's email address, not mine. So, but anyhow, it's always fun. I wish that we could tell you we're going to be here for sure next week. I don't know if we are, but I can assure you that I'm in town on the 16th of September. So 2 weeks from now, I say I'm going to be in town. What if the elk are bugling? I've just committed myself.
Don't make any promises.
You sound like my wife. My wife says, don't make a promise that you can't keep. All right, darling. I ain't making any promises. Oh, Joey has responded. So remember there was a 10-minute limit that they had to respond within 10 minutes. So we've kind of been keeping you on the horn here, waiting for Joey to respond. Matthew just texted me and said, Joey responded. So anyhow, folks, I hope you go out and hunt. If you don't have an elk tag, go back to all of the videos we did with goHUNT this spring that told you how you can go elk hunting every year. Because nothing is a bigger bummer than when all your buddies are out hunting and you're at home splitting firewood or hanging Christmas lights or something. I mean, that, if you want to hear a discussion about Christmas lights, so here's another thing. We have this podcast called Hunt Talk Radio. On Monday, I released an episode with my buddy Dr. Bill Wilshire, who is a foot and ankle doctor here in Bozeman, Montana, who cured so many problems for me as it relates to how my feet were not functioning right. I got a right foot that's like Fred Flintstone foot due to a torn tendon when I was in high school playing football. You don't need the whole story. Maybe that should be our next shop story. How Randy blew out his foot at the North Home football game. We played this team North Home. You played out on like a cornfield and there were gopher holes in it. So I'm linebacker, I'm backpedaling, I'm on defense, and I go to cut with the receiver, and my foot goes down in this gopher hole, and half of my foot stays straight, and the other top of my foot goes sideways, and I pull the posterior tibial tendon, I detach it, but in the process of detaching it, I also pull a bone out. So now I've got like this bone popped out there. Painful. So I dealt with that for years and years and years, and Dr. Wilshire was like, dude, you walk funny, man. You got some problems. He fixed me up. And anyhow, we did a podcast with him on Monday. And it's everything about blisters, plantar fasciitis, bunions, ankles, how to get your feet prepared, boot fit, you name it. It's Hunt Talk Radio, episode number 142. But at the end, we get into this discussion about guys who think they're going to really be cool and show off by being handy. Okay? And we talk about risk management. If you have Christmas lights on your house, you're not my friend. Because it tells me you are foolish enough to risk going up there, standing on that icy, frozen, wet, steep pitch of your roof to hang Christmas lights. You could fall off and break a leg. You could fall off and die. That could be the end of your elk hunting career right there. And it's not bad enough that you do it once. You're dumb enough to go up there to take them down. Stupid. That tells me you're not serious about hunting. I can drive through the neighborhood and I can look at people's houses and I can say, that guy doesn't hunt. That guy, he's a dumbass. Just by looking at what they got for Christmas lights. Now, I'll grant you a little pardon. You know, if you put the nativity scene and the Santa and his caribou out there in the front lawn, okay, I'm good with that. But you start climbing up on roofs to hang something as foolish as Christmas lights that does nothing other than increase your energy bill in the wintertime. And what happens? You're kind of like Clark Griswold, right? You get it all done and you come back, stand there with the family at the end of the driveway, turn her on. Nothing happens. Now you got to shimmy up that frozen ladder and do it again. And climb down that ladder. And then you get there and finally you get all the wiring figured out and you turn it on and somebody in the crowd says, you know, you got 4 green ones in a row there. You're supposed to have green, red, green, red. And you get suckered into going up there and swapping out the 4 green ones and replacing 2 of them with red ones. That does not show me anybody. Nobody who would do that has even the slightest bit of knowledge about what risk really is. I mean, you got better odds going and sleeping in grizzly bear country in elk season with fresh tenderloins in your tent than shimmying up that stupid roof to put Christmas decorations on. Anyhow, we talk about that in the podcast. That marriage advice in the last 20 minutes of the podcast might be worth more than the 2 hours of foot care. So, Aaron says, Randy, wait, let me get my wife. Get her on here, Aaron. And I'm not saying it's all guys, but I bet you the majority of the time the person putting the Christmas lights on is a guy because they're dumber, right? If you want proof that women are smarter than men, who puts the Christmas lights up? The guy, because we're dumb, okay? Women are too smart. They aren't going to do something like that. They're smart. If you drive by my house, you are not going to see any Christmas lights. I'm sorry, okay? Call me Scrooge, call me whatever. Ask my wife, ask any of the employees, ask my son if there's ever been a Christmas light at my house. In the house, yeah, we got a tree. It looks like the one they put in the White House. Outside, no. People die from that stuff. Or at least their hunting careers are in it. And if my hunting career is going to get ended, it's not going to be because of Christmas lights or cutting firewood or mowing grass or some stupid thing like that. It's going to be because a grizzly bear got my ass and got mad at me. Then that's a legitimate end to your hunting career. Putting up Christmas lights is not a legitimate end to your hunting career. So anyhow, folks, we better let you go. These guys are over here laughing so hard. I apologize. Sorry. It got me going. I got to thinking about that. And here's why. I drove by, there's a guy who lives just south of here where our office is. I was driving by and I looked and he still had his Christmas lights on. So he figured out the risk after he hung the lights. He said, you know what, I almost killed myself going up there to do that. So he never takes them down. I'll grant him a little bit more of a pardon than I will those people who put them up and take them down. Either that or he's the guy we read about in the newspaper here in Bozeman, I think December 14th or whatever last year, fell off the roof, killed himself, and now he's not there to go take the lights off. So his wife probably sold the house on Zillow, includes Christmas decorations. Christmas lights included, no charge. She didn't want to tell you that her husband died putting them up. The boyfriend probably died if he was trying to take them down. So, I'm sorry guys, I can't stand Christmas lights if you hunt. It tells me you just aren't there. You don't have it together. It's like the guy who wants to go and cut firewood in September. He's not someone who hunts. So, all right, I ran everybody off. We went from 1,000 people watching to 870. I've ruined the whole brand in no time at all. But no charge for that marital advice. When you're a CPA for 33 years, you've spent about 30 of those 33 years giving marriage counseling and the other 3 years disinheriting the federal treasury. If you do what I do for a living, you get to give a lot of marriage advice. So anyhow, stay well, take care, go hunting, smile, be happy, wake up every morning and think about what am I going to laugh about today? What am I going to do to make my brother laugh, my wife laugh, my whatever, my husband? Doesn't matter. Be happy. Because you live in America and the odds are you have a hunting tag. That's all you need to be happy, okay? All that other stuff, that's just BS. That's those bunch of Russians, Chinese, Republicans, Democrats who don't want you to be happy. I'm all about happy. There's an old Hank Williams song. Go look it up on YouTube. I'm for love. Hank Williams Jr., I'm for love. I'm for happiness. That's me. Hashtag I'm for love. I'm for elk too. Take care.